All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're talking about a really powerful idea: how the small, almost invisible things you do every single day can completely rewire the way you think. We're going to break down a blueprint for how your daily actions can build a stronger, sharper, and way more focused you. So let's get into it.
And you know, it all really starts with this one sentence. It's not about some huge, dramatic, overnight transformation. Nope, it's about the foundation you build, choice by choice, little action by little action. This idea, it's the core of everything we're about to cover.
So let's just get real for a second. Have you ever felt like this? Stuck in a loop, just mentally drained, or maybe just kind of lost? It's a super common feeling, but the reason for it might actually surprise you. It's not because you're broken.
And here it is. Here's the diagnosis. Your current reality, your life right now, is a direct result of your habits. The thoughts you have, the way you react, how you show up, it's all a product of your daily routines. So if you feel stuck, it's not you. It's that your habits are working against you. But the good news, that's something you can absolutely change.
Okay, so where do we even begin? Well, the first pillar in this whole mindset rewire is what we can call the foundation of intention. It's all about how you start your day, because believe me, that first hour sets the entire tone for everything that comes after.
And here's a really key distinction. Routine can be totally mindless, right? The same thoughts, the same excuses, and guess what? The same results. Intention, though, that's active. It's about deciding your direction before the world gets a chance to decide it for you. It's the difference between just drifting along and actually driving.
And this just lays it out perfectly. On one side, you've got the reactive life. You wake up, you grab your phone, and boom, you're immediately responding to other people's emergencies and agendas. Your day is basically chaos. But on the other side is the intentional life. You wake up, you set a purpose, you plan your time. You are in control. So the real question is, are you starting your day on the left or on the right? This really says it all, doesn't it? Planning isn't just about making a to-do list. It's an act of taking back power. It is you telling the world, hey, my focus, my energy, and my time, they belong to me first. Okay, so having intention is step one, but intention without action, well, it's pretty much useless. So for our second pillar, we need to build the engine that turns those plans into reality. And it all starts by confronting that one thing that stops every single one of us: hesitation.
This right here, this is the battleground. It's that tiny moment when you know exactly what you should do, but that little voice inside your head says, later, or I'm just too tired right now. This moment, this single choice is where your future gets shaped. Do you give in and delay, or do you push through?
So let's break that moment down. Step one, you get the impulse to delay. Then step two, the resistance kicks in. Your mind gives you a perfectly logical sounding reason to stop. It even feels protective. But the breakthrough, the moment where all the growth happens, is step three. You take one small, tiny action anyway. In spite of that feeling, you just start.
And it's true, you can't. Hesitation is the absolute enemy of momentum. See, every time you give into it, you reinforce the habit of stopping. But every single time you act despite it, you build the habit of follow-through. You're literally building a new muscle. But starting isn't quite enough. The second part of this engine is finishing, and the benefits are huge. It's not just about getting a task done. When you finish what you start, you prove that your standards are stronger than your feelings. It clears out all that mental clutter. And maybe most importantly, it builds trust in yourself. You become someone that you can actually count on. Okay, so we've got intention and we've got action. But there's a third piece of the puzzle, and it's so crucial because it supports everything else. We have to master that constant conversation you're having inside your own head.
This is such a profound idea when you really think about it. That internal chatter, it's not just background noise. It's the script that defines your reality. If you are constantly tearing yourself down in your mind, it is impossible to build a confident life. Your self-perception is a direct one-to-one result of your self-talk.
And what's so powerful here is how practical this is. This isn't about some fake positivity. It's just about a simple reframe. So instead of, I always mess things up, you switch to a growth mindset. Okay, I'm still learning this. You replace I'm not good enough with a statement of capability, like I expect more from myself because I know I'm capable. This is literally mental training in action.
And this, right here, is the key distinction. So many of us think that being hard on ourselves is what drives discipline, but true discipline comes from a place of respect. It's about being a firm, supportive coach, not a harsh, abusive critic. One builds you up,
and the other just wears you down.
All right, finally, let's talk about the glue that holds all of this together. How do you actually make these changes stick? How do you make these new habits of intention, action, and self-talk permanent? This is the meta habit that makes everything else last.
Here's something that is absolutely essential to get. You don't wait for a habit to feel easy before you commit to it. It's the other way around. The magic, that moment where it finally becomes automatic, that only happens after you've pushed through that initial period of difficulty. You have to earn the ease through consistency.
We can call this period the discomfort zone. And this is so important to understand. That feeling of resistance, when it just feels hard, that's not a sign that you're failing. That is the sign that it is working. That's the feeling of your brain being rewired. It's exactly where the change is happening, and it's precisely why you can't stop.
So what about missing a day? What happens when you slip up? The rule is simple. Never miss twice. Look, perfection is not the goal here. Persistence is. Just get back on track. That's it. Ultimately, this is the finish line. It's when the workout, the planning, the positive self-talk, when it all stops being something you have to force yourself to do and it just becomes a natural part of who you are. It moves from being something you do to being part of your identity.
So it all comes down to this one question. Your future isn't some distant, abstract thing that's just going to happen to you. No, it's being built right now, in this very moment, by the small habits you choose to do. So the only real question is, what are you going to build today?